Hello everyone, this is Sheila Shaffie and welcome back to another episode at ProcessArc where we provide you with digestible business insights. In today's video, I want to talk about how metrics drive behavior and how as executives and managers, what do we need to do to guard ourselves against unintended consequences of the metrics that we deploy in our business unit. Now here's an example of what I'm talking about. When I go for runs, I don't always wear my Fitbit. But when I do, on those particular days, I've noticed that I happen to run just a little bit faster and a little bit longer. And I guess that's the unintended consequence of me having a measurement device on myself. And on days that I don't wear it, I seem to run at a slower pace, perhaps one that is a little bit more comfortable for me. So there's an example of how knowing that there's a measurement out there is going to impact how I'm going to behave. And we as managers and executives deploy metrics in our business unit as a way to measure performance and a way to ensure that we're going to meet our targets, whatever those are, financial, operational, employee retention, it doesn't really matter. But we measure metrics in order to help us directionally determine if we're headed in the right way or not. But here's an example of where things could go terribly wrong and how we need to ensure that when we are deploying metrics, we're deploying them in an ecosystem that's going to ensure balance. So if you are an operations manager that is supposed to be processing applications for new insurance loans or a new brokerage account, you may think that cycle time perhaps is a great metric. And it is. Cycle time should be one of the metrics you have to ensure that you're meeting your service level agreements with the other parts of the business. And you ask your team to make sure that they turn around those applications within 4 hours. Guess what? Your team will do everything within their power to meet that SLA and that cycle time target of 4 hours. But the unintended ramifications or the consequence of just measuring people on cycle time perhaps is that they will start processing applications faster than they can or they should in order to be able to catch the mistakes or errors that are within those application packets, which has two unintended consequences. You could either be throwing incomplete work over the wall into the next business unit, or you could be absorbing risk that was, again, something that you couldn't understand or pick up on because you were so intent on meeting a 4-hour turnaround cycle time for processing an application. So the way to guard against an unintended consequence of a particular metric is to also think about other metrics that will counterbalance or guard you against just pushing for one particular metric. So perhaps you should be measuring cycle time and percent reject or percent rework that may be coming back to you from another department. It may be cycle time and your net promoter score to ensure that just because you're trying to process a customer request quickly, you're not adversely impacting the satisfaction rating of your service that you're providing. So having an ecosystem of metrics ensures that as you're pushing one metric to perform better, you're not adversely impacting another one and making the process work in a worse way. That was the insight for this week. I thank you again for joining me today. Please make sure you subscribe and I look forward to seeing you again next week.